I think I've seen enough of other people's opinions on tier lists. I think I'm a, you know what Thanos once said? It's time to do my own thing. No, that's Miles. Thanos. Iconic quotes. Marvel. Gone as all things. I'll do it myself. Thanos said I'll do it myself. And that's what I have to do now. We're gonna create a tier list. What are these tier names? Let's remove them. We're gonna be simple. The tier lists are gonna be simple, right? This is the best ever. We're gonna pick this tier, contender tier. You know what? We're gonna take, it's like basketball, right? Right, these are contenders. These are people that Pokemon, I don't know why they're people. They're Pokemon that I think can win, right? These are like the champions. These are, you know, winning picks. Toppest tier. These are the contenders. These are like gonna be no, literally. And also, why are people making updated tier lists? I think we should talk about that, right? We have so many more tournaments recently, right? We have the VR Tour 2, and we have the VR Tour 1, and we have the VR Tour 3. You know, good things come in triples. Rillaboom, Urshifu, Incineroar. We have a lot of new results that showcase a lot of new things. And of course, we have a regional coming up in 2 weeks, so people want to know what the best is, right? So how quickly will we get Nebby in the lowest tier? I got you right now. Boom! Kaka! We're gonna call this Pee Poo Poo. There. This is gonna be Twitch paid me to talk about these Pokemon. So if I think viable is like, no, the next one is Twitch paid me to talk about these Pokemon. So YouTube wouldn't get mad. Nebby going in the I'm sorry little one. I think it's like not necessarily viable, but I think like strong day 2 players, if you really must. All right, these are the tiers. We're gonna start from the bottom to the top. We're gonna go left to right because we're English readers. Is left to right English readers? Left, right. Yes, we're going left to right. This is I'm sorry little one. This is, what is this one? What is this one? This is like, don't use these. I'm being so for real. All right, let's get our don't use these I'm being so for real Pokemon out. Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, Rayquaza, Garantina, Reshiram, Zekrom, Karuam. I guess you too. You can go into I'm sorry little one. Solgaleo. Whatever this Pokemon is. Necrozma. This guy. Why that texture got mustard on it? It's like copied it from the top. You can put Calyrex in the I'm sorry little one tier. Calyrex. Alright, I'm putting pretty much every Pokemon I think is like kind of like, and I can like, I'll give you guys all a one-liner on why you shouldn't use these Pokemon, right? Lugia. I'm sorry. You guys are going to hate me. If you want me to talk about these mons, I'll put them in. Twitch paid me to talk about these Pokemon so YouTube wouldn't get mad. Otherwise, I will not be talking about these Pokemon. All right, it's simple already. All right, Mewtwo, just power crap. Give them its Mega Forms back, and I don't even think it'll still be good even with its Mega Forms. It's like it's a psychic type, right? And like maybe it'll be cool in expanding for stuff, but like, you know what else is a psychic type and also is not power crept and also has broken stats? Spoiler alert, Calyrex Shadow. All right, Ho-Oh. No, Ho-Oh Tinglu isn't good. It's not saving the meta. I want you to know that I coached someone who wanted to use Ho-Oh. And, you know, they got to use Ho-Oh. And they have recently reached out. I coached them tomorrow. And they said, do not allow me to use Ho-Oh. So, Ho-Oh is in don't use these. I'm being so for real tier. That said, if you want to use Ho-Oh, you should probably wait for GS Cup, like JMJAGM said. Rayquaza, yes, Terra Normal E-Speed. We all know what you're trying to do. You have a flying type. I think, you know, I think that Dragon? What am I trying to say? Dragon? I think Dragonite is a better Pokemon and doesn't take a restricted slot. If you want to use a dragon type that can click extreme speed, just use Dragonite and you can use one of the actual good Pokemon. This is budget D-Knight that actually it's like premium D-Knight. And D-Knight's not even insane. Giratina, I don't think I need to say words. They're just like, they don't do anything. They don't do anything. You love D-Knight that takes a restricted spot. You're so real. Reshiram. So Reshiram maybe has like some use, but you know what? Pokemon that click strong fire moves that can nuke things and doesn't take a restricted slot. I'm just gonna say it, chat. It rhymes with he, you. If you guess which Pokemon, you understand. Zekrom. You know what Zekrom is? Zekrom is a Pokemon where you lose a bet. You lose a bet, and you know what happens after you lose a bet? You bring it to a national tournament, and you go 5-3, which might be good for some of you guys. But this is a tier list directed to the sweatiest, ain't washing days, grease lords. I know. Me, it's for me. So, what if I bring Kyrium B to San Antonio, loaded dice D-Dance? I support you. Look, if a Pokemon is in don't use these, I'm being so for real. I support you. But when you do, if you do bad, you will understand why I put these in don't use these, I'm being so for real. And if you do good with them, you can quote me and be like, you should have looked at this. The strong quotations on him. Kyrium Black, I think is an okay mon. Allegedly. But it just, you know, there's another ice type restricted. I'm just gonna say. That is physical attacking. That clicks a stronger ice move. Dragon moves, what are you hitting? A Terra Fairy Miraidon? Shit. Also, I think that all the Gen 5 and Gen 4 Ubers just suffer from, like, designs. Like, if you notice, all the Gen 3, 4, 5 Ubers all just have, like, 90 speed, 95 speed. And that's just not cutting it these days. Anyway, Solgaleo. You know, it's like an okay Pokemon. I think Necrozma might just be better for that. But, yeah, don't use them being so for real. Necrozma cries in Ultra Necrozma. The Zacian and Zamazenta forms. Yeah, you get over there. They are decidedly like mid. I will say Zamazenta is cute because you can do Grassy Seed Zamazenta and get a +2 speed boost, and you're faster. So you should use that for YouTube content. Hey, a new VG stream I've never seen. Let's hope they don't do a tier list of Reg G. Boom, Vine boom, gunshot noises. Can we get old Zaci's ability back? Hell no. Next. Classic Necrozma should be in I'm sorry, little one. Necrozma, yes, let's put Necrozma in I'm sorry, little one. I've seen what they did to you. They're gonna do that to Terrapagos next gen. So like Terrapagos will be there soon. 50 Reg G tier list just to say CIR, CSR, Koraidon good? That's what I'm saying, right? There's like, how do you do a tier list like this where it doesn't get too crazy? And you know what? Are CIR, CSR, Koraidon good? Yes, but number 3 will surprise you. And number 5 left us speechless. And the Pokemon I put in number 6 was, my mind was blown, right? And I think that's when Joe made his tier list, right? We saw that Joe put Terrapagos second. We're gonna call that recency bias, right? If we are looking at current meta trends, we have 3 tournaments, and Terrapagos is doing amazing in all of them. However, it does have room for concern when it did not do good in the most recent one. You know what this tier list video has over every single tier list video? Is that I decided to wait until after the Victory Road Tour. Because I knew that this was going to demonstrate my point of how Pokemon players adapt, right? Terrapagos does amazing in 2 tournaments back to back. What are players going to do if Terrapagos is doing good? They're going to adapt. And you know what happens? Then very next tournament, Zamazenta wins, right? Zamazenta wins the very next tournament. So like, if anybody is putting Terrapagos top 2 tied with Calyrex Shadow, they are lying to you. And that's okay. I will not lie to you. That's the difference. That is the difference in this tier list. I'm not lying to you. I'm going to tell you it straight. I've seen one Eternatus, yes. I've seen a Lugia do good, and I'm putting it in don't use it. I'm being so for real to her. I'm going to be very harsh on certain Pokemon. I'm just going to put this as viable. Because that's how I really feel about these Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put all the Pokemon that I think are top 5 in Contender first, and then we're gonna move them. If any of I think that these Pokemon are so far ahead of the others that if anyone is putting other Pokemon next to these Pokemon, they're lying to you. These are the only 5 Mons that have been proven to do good consistently. Multiple stops in Top Cut. These 5. We've had multiple tournaments of Regulation G now. We've had 3 VR tours. These are the Pokemon most proven, right? We go to Cut Explorer, right? We go to 2024. We go to any Top Cut, you're going to see multiple of these Pokemon. You see Worlds, multiple of these Pokemon, right? In that top 16. These are the most proven. Everything else are lying to you. Are these the only ones we're thinking about? No. These are not the only ones we're thinking about, I think. I think that if you want instant results now, these are the 5 you have to use. And if anyone puts any other Pokemon next to them, they're lying to you. I'm sorry, I have to say it. They're lying to you. On to Terrapagos. We're going to order them later. Those are going to be the ones that we order later. I gave Pagos the first major win. I can see that. I think Pagos is busted. Right? These are all busted. If you want an easy time, please just play these guys. If you want to play life on hard mode, you're going to be playing the rest of the guys. Okay? So I think the immediate first Mon in Viable that I have to put in Viable is Necrozma Dawnwings. I think that this is going to be one of the worst of the viable Pokemon. I'm going to be honest. You're using Necrozma Dawnwings because of one thing. You're a Side Spam player. You're a hard Trick Room Side Spam player. You want to play Lilycole stuff, right? Indeedee, Ursaluna, etc. That's what you are, and that's okay. It's viable. I don't think it's a strong day 2 contender, but I think it is good enough to be played. If we look at 2024, we even look at the recent tournaments in these events, right? We look for Necrozma Dawn Wings, right? It's a Pokemon that can do good, top 256, right? It's not a Pokemon that I'm going to tell you to use because you want to win the tournament. I think it's a Pokemon that is viable. We put it in viable. Sounds good? Capiche? Viable. Similarly, Lunala is what Terrapagos wants to be. And let me explain this. The Lunala can go up here too. Lunala, every time people want to use Lunala, it's because, wow, guys, look, Lunala can beat Calyrex, forms theoretically with Wide Guard, and it can give Zamazenta trouble. But like, when we think about like how it actually performs and its results, it's always performs so middling. And it's always been like a theory Pokemon. Nobody has been able to really bring out its full potential. It's amazing next to Ursaluna. With Meteor Beam, it can do some cool things into Incineroar, where it has Wide Guard, it's a Calm Mind there. I think it's just viable for now. I think it's just viable, and we need a really, really strong team to break the mold, because it hasn't broken the mold. I think its best tournament was like NAIC. I don't even know how it did at Worlds. I think it did like just okay, if it did anything, right? Yeah, it did just okay. Yeah, like, it's just unfortunate. It's an okay Pokemon. It's not doing good at these VR tours, right? It's viable. Let's talk about some other Pokemon. Zacian. It's hard for me to say if Zacian's a strong day 2 player or if Zacian's viable, because I think that there are two really strong builds. I think that what Grant has done and what Kian Campbell has done, amazing. They both did good at Worlds. So if they were both like one of the few Zacian players. That like I always think of when they think about Zacian, right? If we look at them, right, we see this is NAIC. So we had a few more, but if we go to Worlds, there was 2 Zacian, and these are, I think, the best versions of how Zacian should be ran. And Grant Weldon was able to make day 2, top 24, where Kian was just outside. And Kian also did really good, had a breakout performance at LA, I believe. I think that these are two of the strongest ways to play, and they both very different. So I think it's stronger, if this is the metric, I think it's stronger than the Lunala and the Necrozma Freak Wings. And because of that, I am going to put it, I think, just above. Kian's top cut loss at that one regional still hurts. I agree. It was a very close set. I recommend people watch. I'm gonna put it here. It's a strong day 2 player, right? It's low population, but I think it is a contender. We're gonna rank where it fits in that group later, right? Kyurem Black, I think, is probably the worst legendary I'm gonna put in the viable. After I said Necrozma, it's actually Kyurem Black. Kyurem Black is a viable Pokemon because it's Dragon Ice special attacker, can be used in hyper offense teams, but its speed stat holds it back. That is Kyurem White. Did I not say Kyurem White? What did I say? You said Black. Oh, thank you. Kyurem White, because I was thinking about Kyurem Black earlier. Shh, y'all ain't hear that. This is the Game Freak thing. The Game Freak tier lists are from earlier. Ruined my thought process on colors. It's okay, guys. I have white friends. It's fine. I don't see Kyurem White. Anyway, back to actually yapping about this Pokemon. Kyurem White is viable. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's ever had like an insane tournament result. It might have had like a cool like. I don't see Kyurem as crazy. I don't see it in any cut. I don't see it in day 2s. I think it's just viable. I think it's probably the worst Pokemon I'm gonna put in viable. And you know what? I lied, because I think the next worst Pokemon is Necrozma. I think Necrozma is viable, I think. Like, it's never had a team that's really used, and it's kind of, I'm lying to you guys. Like, you know, when I'm struggling to say anything about a Pokemon, don't use these. I'm being so for real. I'm being so for real, chat. At least with Kyurem, I can see the logic. I can see the team. Respect Kyurem, I had one top 32 early. See? And you know, I have G-Wills927 hitting me with the follow, understanding that I'm capping, trying to talk about Solgaleo. I've never seen it. I've seen it like a few times on like when I was Worlds prepping, and those teams obviously didn't do well. Kyurem White and Snow seemed like a good idea until you realize, yeah, it can barely KO Calyrex Ice, because again, these 5 Pokemon are the best Pokemon. Anybody that puts another Pokemon up with these 5 are lying to you. And we're gonna rank them in order shortly. Groudon. This is a Pokemon that is, people are like, you're gonna, if you look at someone else's tier list, obviously there's so many tier lists. Aaron Zhang has a tier list, Joe has a tier list, Marcos Moxie Boosted has a tier list. Groudon. Let's talk about Groudon. I think that Groudon is viable based off of the context of the meta. If we've looked at the recent VR tours, this is the first one, right? And we didn't get to really see much Groudon. Like Fede ran a Groudon team, went 5-4, like whatever. But it wasn't until the next one where we got not one, but was it 2 Groudons, or am I lying? Did Joe not do good with a Groudon team? Oh, we got 2. Yeah, I'm blind. We got 2 Groudon teams popping off, right? And that's crazy. That's crazy. We got Woot VGC saying hello to you too. I have that song a cover starting loop since Wednesday. It's a great song. Who's doing the cover? In theory, Kyurem White seems like a great tank with good coverage and a sexy one. Why would you call it sexy? 1/7 attack, yeah. But when you play it, realize it just doesn't, and you can't really tank. Yes, I agree. Anyway, Groudon is like a very interesting Pokemon, and it's rising. Why is it rising, right? We have to think about the context of the format. Well, the context of the format is the World Championships, where Miraidon won the event, right? And yes, what it's basic Pokenomics? Basic Pokenomics. If an electric type Pokemon is doing good, naturally a ground type Pokemon will pull up. Was there yes, there was a Groudon, I'm pretty sure, in day 2. There's 3. There was 3 Groudons in day 2. Y'all are disrespectful as hell. And it almost made day 2. So I think right now, Pokenomics is what we're gonna call it. I think that Groudon can get better. I think Groudon is viable. I think it's the best Pokemon I'm putting in viable tier. I don't think it's a strong day 2 player yet. I think it will be a strong day 2 player after it gets a real life regional tournament. Birmingham is in a week. This video is going to be up in the middle of the week. Is in like next week. So if Birmingham happens, if San Antonio happens, Groudon wins the event, Groudon top 8s, top 4s, you can come back and call me a loser, and I will understand. But for now, I think Zacian's proven. I think even Zacian and like can be interchangeable with Groudon right now. But for now, I'm not gonna call Groudon a strong day 2 player until it actually does something, right? Koraidon, I'm the same way. I'm gonna just put it, I think Koraidon's viable. I don't know if it's a strong day 2 player. If you're going, oh, good luck, have fun. I think Koraidon sucks. I think Koraidon sucks. I think that Koraidon is not good. And it has always been opportunity, man. And I think that the results back that up. Its pop-off event was Los Angeles, where it got 2 top 8s on the same team. Very talented players, Rajan and Collinhire. Outside of that, I think that the current iteration of the team is really strong and can do good when piloted by a strong player. but I think it's viable. I don't think it's better. It's as good as something like Zacian. Disrespectfully, I'm saying this disrespectfully. If you are a Koraidon player watching this, I want to be proven wrong. I have spent so many sleepless nights trying to figure out Koraidon. You know who's another player? I'm about to put him on. You know who's another player who has spent many sleepless nights trying to figure out Koraidon? Mikhail Kelch. Another player. Very talented player. Spent so much of early Reg G trying to solve Koraidon. And you know what he brought instead? Zamazenta. Koraidon has the most copium addicts in this format. So until Koraidon actually does something, I'm not a believer. I don't care if Luca is like dominating tournaments, got top 4 here, right? I don't care if Carlos running that same exact team got top 8, you know? I'm not going to believe until it happens, right? Like you could say it bombed the last tournament, right? And this is what the thing is, right? Every other tier list didn't wait until this tournament to drop like some more thoughts, right? It did dog water. It did dog water. Mikhail top 4 worlds with Zamazenta. I think he made, yes, 100%. Look at this. 17 in day 1, 0 in day 2. Is this who you are expecting to do good? It's too streaky. It's viable. That's it. That's it. It's terrible and just like literally. It's like you know what? I'm going to be the average Koraidon player right now. Oh man, I'm playing Koraidon. You know that Koraidon actually makes the strongest Pokemon stronger. I can boost my Flutter Mane and my Raging Bolt, and I can also boost my Incineroar. So I'm actually using the best Pokemon. But then you're using a Koraidon. You can do everything that you just said without Koraidon. That's it. Koraidon is viable. Don't piss me off. And finally, we have Kyogre, who, unlike the Sun guys, I think is a strong day 2 contender. I think is a strong day 2. It did really, I think that its time has dropped, unfortunately. I think its time has definitely dropped. Swordfish shipping, yeah, and I can't wait for GS Cup. I think that, like, from usage, it hasn't been doing the greatest, right? And so, like, it's, like, been around. I think Alex Soto has been, like, consistently doing well. It's been in the top 16 conversation. I think it's a strong day 2 contender. We even saw as recently as NAIC, where it got 2 top 8s. But if you want me to be honest with you guys, chat, I think that everything that happened in NAIC before is like a completely different format to what we're playing now. Like it feels that different. It's kind of crazy, but I think that Kyogre has stood the test of time, has quite a few builds, is a scary team. Also another low usage pop team. I think it can be a strong day 2 contender, but that's where I'm at. If anything, after all this yapping, I'm okay putting them here because I think that they're way better than these 3. But yeah, Dawn Wings is just viable. That's really all it is. Yo, what's up? How you doing? I'm chilling. I'm just making this tier list. I think I've said exactly what I needed to say, right, when it comes to this tier list and like these mons and this placement. What are we doing with the mustard tier? I can be bought. You can pay me to talk about a Pokemon. Otherwise, don't use them. You can sub and I'll like look at one of these Pokemon and say some words about them so that YouTube doesn't get mad at me. Otherwise, I'm deleting the tear at the end of this video. All right. I think we have gotten a Positives gift sub. Talk about Ho-Oh. Twitch has paid me to talk about Ho-Oh so that YouTube wouldn't get mad. If you're gonna use Ho-Oh, I think that it has a use with Tinglu, right? I've talked about it, but its damage is so low, and it doesn't really have a strong boosting move. Boosting, does it get bulk up? I think it bulk up. He gets Calm Mind. Yeah, that is very unfortunate. It doesn't get an actual move that uses its attack stat. It's just like okay. I think that the other thing is that all of the physical attackers are just also still don't care, right, about like Sacred Fire, because a lot of them are Terra Fire, like Calyrex Ice, for example. I think that like it's great for YouTube videos. It's great if it's one of your faves. It's one of my faves. I want you to know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I played Heart Gold. I picked Heart Gold, but it doesn't. It needs something. It needs buffs. And then it'll be there. I think it can be okay in double restricted. But for now, Twitch has paid me to talk about it and say some nice things about it. And that is where it is. Let's talk about the top 5 now, right? So the reason I put Groudon in Koraidon is because I'll say this one last thing. I put Groudon Koraidon where I put Groudon Koraidon because unlike Lunala, Necrozma, and the other one, Kyurem White. See, I remembered. I see color now. I think that these can actually be strong day 2 players, but I think there's such a big gap. In fact, I'm gonna do this. Watch this shot. There is such a gap, but huge gap between these. If you see anyone place any of the below mons next to the ones above, they are lying to you. There. That's what I'm thinking. I think that is where I'm at with these tier lists. If anyone, and we're going to talk about, I'm just going to say it. There's a clear number 1. There's a clear number 1 between these 5 contenders. And if you can guess it, I'll leave some time for you guys to guess. There's a clear number 1. Two Miraidons. You will say CSR or Miraidon Shadow Rider. Is it a horse? It's an E-Tech follower horse. The turtle. Mewtwo. All right. It's CSR. I'm just gonna say it. It's CSR. It's not close. It's not close. The meta revolves around CSR. I think I can firmly say that proudly. I think that CSR, the meta revolves around CSR so much that Fortnite Good hit me with a follow and told me this in private, that Calyrex Shadows are currently beating each other by being Terra Normal and Terra Dark, because Calyrex Shadow matchup matters significantly more than any other matchup, right? If we look up all of these results, look at the VR Tour conversion rates. Look at the VR Tour conversion rates, right? Look at that. 33% on day 1. Obviously, and also, I will say disclaimer that, you know, I think Europeans carry this Pokemon. And so, but guess what the first regional is? Birmingham. Again, this Pokemon is insane. And we go to the final one, where once again, it's just insane. It's not close. It's not even close. I don't think Miraidon is gapped that hard by CSR. I agree with you. There's a reason why I put this. Every Pokemon in contenders and above, I think are balanced and equal to each other. Right? Anything else though? I will say Miraidon, right? A lot of you guys said Miraidon, right? And I think it's clearly also number 2. I think the thing that Miraidon gets, is that they're figuring out how to play the mirror a little bit better. The mirror still sucks to play, I guess. But like, I think that when we looked at like Arubega's team was just so strong. I think what the problem with Miraidon teams moving forward is how do you innovate on Miraidon? I think that is the question, and it's going to be answered very quickly. I want you to know this isn't like a real problem. This is like a fake problem. But how do you innovate on it, right? Like, we have the 2 versions. This is obviously what Sungjae used to do good at Worlds already, which is the Arubega like version, right? And then there's the AV Miraidon team. Are these it? Is this it for Miraidon? And is that enough? And the answer might be yes, it's enough. Dark Shifu is definitely better than Water Shifu. I've been seeing that. I think that Dark Shifu is really good right now. This is the spoilers for when I talk about non-restricted, which I can do another day. I think they're really good right now. I do think that Urshifu though. I think that Miraidon is broken. And only time will tell. Only time will tell if these guys will get innovations. Because I think that right now they're kind of in a place where you have 2 routes and the team is good, right? Obviously it had a bad VR tour, but it's a world champion team. It's the team that is what shaped these last 2 tournaments, right? But the question is there even more, right? And I don't know. I think people sleep on Bundle and Miraidon, maybe. But that is where that is at. I think it's number 2. Is it a surprise to anyone? Maybe. But I think that's where I'm at. If I can give one tip to every Miraidon player, just click Draco Meteor. Just click Draco Meteor. When you start clicking Draco Meteor, realizing that you one-shot the entire meta, you realize that it's so broken. Just click Draco Meteor. Draco Go, great tip from our coaching session. No, literally, just click Draco Meteor. It is such a broken move. Just click like it's like kind of different. I think those 2 Pokemon are like, the thing is, a lot of people like kind of foot around clicking your broken move. It's just click Draco. Like you're in a situation where you're trying to figure out like an option that your opponent can do, just click Draco. Still 3 of them. I'm gonna say this right now. Calyrex Ice has not had a good online circuit scene. But when has Calyrex Ice ever done good in online tournaments? Look me in the eyes and tell me, when has Calyrex Ice ever impressed to an insane degree in an online tournament? And then let's look at the players that play Calyrex Ice that go to tournaments. Justin Burns, right? Ryan Haig. All of these amazing players who don't play online. Alex Underhill, right? Like Utah, right? Think of all of these players who just, I guess Juice plays online, but like, you know what I mean. For someone who actually is me. Marco's currently Calyrex shadowing, but like Marco Fiero, top board with it, right? Calyrex was super consistent in the first iteration of Reg G. It's still just as consistent in the second iteration. It is still, like, you gotta remember the second iteration includes Worlds. The second iteration of Reg G includes Worlds. Because that's where we're going off of. And it's still insane. Anybody that is sleeping on Calyrex is crazy. That said, a Pokemon that has really, really impressed me in online tournaments that I think it's bad that it's really impressed me. I'm gonna be honest. I think that this VR tour is bad for two things. I think it's good. More results is good, but I think it's bad in that I think that this Pokemon that I'm gonna put above Calyrex Ice is going to do worse. So if that happens, that prediction happens, you can come back to this video and you can call me a genius. But I think it's Terrapagos. I think that Terrapagos is doing amazing in the online circuit, is doing amazing at Worlds, has been a lot of success, whether you're doing specs or you're doing the combine sub stuff. Would Koraidon still be the toppest tier? If it, yes. Yes. I think so. Would Calyrex I be replaced with Terrapagos if it won Worlds? Maybe not. But yeah, Koraidon just clicks Draco. I think that Cali Ice is good. It's broke. If anything, Calyrex Ice, I'm going to say it right now. Besides Calyrex Shadow, Calyrex Ice has had the most innovations, has had the most teams built around it, and still has so many teams built around it. I think Zamazenta is on that same tier of adaptability. Same with Terrapagos. And I think that gets disrespected because the playstyle is called boring. Terrapagos' playstyle, Calm Mind version, I think is extremely boring. It's the equivalent of watching paint dry. But it has been on a roll. And both versions of it have been on a roll. And I think that's sick, right? I think that's cool. Winning back-to-back VR tours before the meta caught up to it, right? And this is where the fifth, Zamazenta is going to... I think Zamazenta will do better than Terrapagos at the next event. And why I'm saying that, despite putting Terrapagos here, is actually kind of simple. And the way I will explain it, right, is just it's on a roll. It's the Mon to beat. It's one of the Mons to beat. This is why you saw Joe's tier list the other day. Put it right here, right? Put it tied. I don't believe they're tied. I think it's so clearly Calyrex Shadow favored. Wyatt, bro, I just got here. Welcome. Why the hell is Kieran white hair? Because he survived. Don't use these. I'm being so for real. That's the only reason, is because I thought that it's okay. It cooks is a lie, but I think that it's okay. So that's it. Don't actually use it though. It's like probably closer to Twitch paid me to talk, but Twitch didn't pay me. Twitch paid me to talk about Ho. All of these other mons, if you gift a sub, if you sub, I'll talk about another mon in this. Otherwise, I'm not talking about any more about these. Don't use these mons. This is insane, bro. This tier list. I prefaced this tier list by saying I won't lie to you guys. Twitch peer pressured. With the sub. Tell me which Pokemon we're talking about. Dialga Origin. Okay, so Dialga Origin is legitimately better than a lot of the Pokemon, and don't use these. I think that it has two good things. Telepathy and Trick Room. Telepathy, because I think it's one of the best partners next to Ursaluna. And so that you can do like Earthquake shenanigans, etc. However, it has the same problem that Ho-Oh in the same tier has. Its damage is pitiful. Its damage is so sad. And the only way you're getting real damage is Draco. Right? And that's like just not cutting it. If it had like another... What would make Dialga... If they gave it like a steel signature attack that did 120 and attacks both Pokemon and doesn't miss, then I would call this Pokemon a contender. But because it doesn't have a steel move that hits both Pokemon for 120 damage, it is just staying there. And also, yes, Rillaboom messes up the Earthquake thing. Yeah, give Dialga Make It Rain, and then we'll talk. But Dialga does not have Make It Rain, so Twitch paid me to talk about it so that YouTube wouldn't get mad. Eternatus has that sort of. I'm not talking about any other Pokemon in here, unless I'm getting paid. No, not the. I did see the something go up. You know what? And Max, you gave me a tier list earlier. What Pokemon do you want me to talk about? I don't know why resubs sometimes don't get the notification. But what Pokemon do you want me to talk about? The creators of Space and Time got so dirty. Like, Legend ZA came, gave them a new form, and then they're still ass. Palkia favorite Eevee, need to know what's wrong with him. Palkia's problem is that Palkia... How do I say this? Cosmo. Alright, I'll talk about Cosmo after Palkia. How do I say this? Palkia is a bottom. Is submissive. Palkia needs another good Pokemon next to it. You know, that's all that Palkia is missing. So I think that what Palkia is missing is that it can't carry the load alone. It cannot be the single restricted. It needs another partner. And because of that, it will always be not viable. That is the problem with Palkia. Like, in the years that it's done good, think about the Kali-S Palkia team. It was there to deal with Kyogre. I love you, but you got a big ass forehead. Was zoned out until that very moment. Also was zoned out until the Jupiter Saturn sub, and we hit a Hypiotrane. But yeah, so that's the problem with Palkia. Use it in GS Cup because it's genuinely a good partner for certain Pokemon. Tell me why I should run Lugia at Atlanta. I got you. First, I'm gonna get Wyatt, who wants me to talk about Cosmo. Cosmo, you know, I think it makes great YouTube challenge runs. I might do using the worst Uber ever, and I think that's like content, right? You know, if I want to, it's like, you know what it is? Using Cosmo is like the Goku fight. You guys know the Goku meme? Who would win Goku with heart virus meme? Tied up. And it's like this, like who would win? And it's like a full image. It's like Goku with like no arms, blindfolded, his mouth gag, has delayed onset key disorder, has the heart virus, has been infected, has CTE, has been trepanated, starved for 2 weeks, just gone through a second tournament of power with no rest, has been shrunk like he is inside of Boo. Who would win? And the answer is still Goku, right? And that is the type of challenge that you're doing when you're playing Cosmo. And so because of that, that is what you're doing when using Cosmo. Now, Jupiter asked, why should you use Lugia? So why you want to use Lugia is because, you know, you don't want to use Terrapagos, because you said Terrapagos is too boring. I'm going to use something who is equally boring, but will get you compliments at the tables. Someone's going to be like, Lugia, wow, that's really cool. What are you cooking? And you're just doing another Calm Mind, like support it with the flower Pokemon whose name I'm forgetting. You know, like it's all these like silly like screens, etc. You're cooking Lugia with Smeargle Muck, right? And when you do that, right, you're gonna make a lot of friends. I think that you're gonna have a lot of fun, and because of that, you should 100% bring it to Atlanta. You'll have a great time with Comfy. Lugia, yes. So that is why you should use Lugia. Zamazenta, so like, I think, can I be honest right now with you guys? Like, this is going to be only for people who don't skip this video, or people who are looking specifically at the image. I think that everything in contenders are kind of all equal to each other. And it depends on the meta cycle, right? I think Zama shoots up randomly and then comes back down. I think same thing with Terrapagos, shoots up, comes back down. And I think right now, maybe, allegedly, Calyrex Ice is doing that. It's shot up. It's been up the entire time, and now it's like down, quote unquote, down. Because of that, I think that Zamazenta is the weakest of the three. Its cycle is very dependent on another contender being picked up. I think it's very like insistent on these two being used a lot for it to get its max use, right? But when it happens, look what happens, right? Look at this Victory Road Tour where Tomoyuki shows a new team that is going to terrorize the meta for the next week. If you play on Showdown, you'll see this team, right? Think about that. I want you guys to all think about that. Think, Mark. Think. Right? Same with but it really depends on when these other two Pokemon rise. I think it's the same thing with Groudon. Do you think Groudon is going to do good if people suddenly like lower their use of certain mons, specifically the Koraidon? Probably not. And that is why I think I am proud enough to ship this tier list. I think that this tier list is mostly complete. I think if anything, I may do this because I think Zacian is currently weak at the moment.